Hi everyone, welcome to today's Icehouse webinar. My name is Priya and I'm the Junior Marketing Specialist at the Icehouse. We're actually flipping the script today with Bryar sitting in the guest seat, and that's because we're going to dive into community, and she's the best person to chat about it since she's our community manager. So welcome to the webinar, Bryar.
Hi Priya, thank you so much, and quite funny to be on this side of the interview or the webinar. So I'm looking forward to today, and thank you for hosting.
Of course, no problem. Love to just start things off by introduction to who you are and telling us what a community manager is.
Awesome. Cool. Nice. So hi, everyone. I am Bryar Stewart, the community manager at the Icehouse, and I have been in the role 2 years as of a couple of weeks ago. Absolutely love the role I have here as community manager and really keen to do a deep dive into, what even is a community manager and what does community look like within the Icehouse, yes, but also within businesses and SMEs across New Zealand, which is cool. But I'm a big lover of people, and I think that's why my job ties in nicely with that. I am very extroverted. I love chatting with people and getting to know their story. And the whole responsibility of a community manager, especially here at the Icehouse, is to bring our alumni into the fold again, to sort of engage them and stimulate the network. So as a lot of our alumni would know, once you finish your program, you become an Icehouse alumni, but what happens after that? And so community manager, the role is sort of looking after making sure the community feel connected post their program. And I'm going to dive into what that looks like in terms of our strategy a bit later. But yeah, it can look like a number of things. It also just looks like continuous improvement, making sure we have an actual strategy for our community, looking at the data and analytics, what's working, what's not, getting feedback. It's a customer service-based role as well, just managing those expectations across what the Icehouse delivers. But yeah, it's a very varied role, and I'm looking forward to unpacking what the strategies look like and what I've learned as well over the last 2 years, because it's really developed. But that's me.
Lots going on, eh? Lots going on in the community role. And you kind of already touched on this, but I guess just wanted to ask, what is a community and why is it important?
Yeah. So an actual definition, I'm going to go to my notes here, but an actual definition of community is people coming together around a shared purpose, interest, or goal. And so really it's just about people coming together. And really, I think it's a little bit more than that, though, when you put it in the sphere of business. What is community in business? I honestly think it's a developing new business model, community-led growth as an actual strategy around creating really strong networks in your businesses. It plays to this just human desire that we have in every single one of us to feel part of something bigger, to feel valued, and to feel like you're using your giftings and your strengths for the good of the world and for the community itself. And I think it's important because it leans into what our people want. It's making sure it's very value-based. Community is going to the people that we serve, so in this case, our owners and our leaders, and asking them, what is valuable to you? What do you want from the Icehouse? What does a good community look like to you? And so I think why community is important is it's keeping tabs on the clients and the people that you have, and it's bringing value to them in a way that they understand and really they want. So yeah, it's keeping in their worlds, and in a role or an organization like the Icehouse, that's so important. Like we want to keep in touch with our business owners beyond just the one-off program that they did 5 years ago. We want to see, how has COVID been like for them? Have they sold their businesses 10 years later? Have they developed new products? Have they grown? Have they scaled back? And if we didn't have community, it would just be a one-off thing, and we'd be like, see you later after our program, and we wouldn't be able to connect with them afterwards. So it's kind of both answers in one, but that's my answer for that one.
Oh, totally. That's really cool. The next question I wanted to ask you is, what has the process been of bringing community to life at the Icehouse?
What has the process been? bringing community to life at the Icehouse. Yeah, so the Icehouse really, like the whole model of the Icehouse is a community. We are a community of SME business owners here in New Zealand. And the Icehouse has actually been around for 20 years. So I think, compared to other organizations, we do have a great community just by what we do with our programs, our cohorts, and that sort of thing. But I think our community has been more, in the past, it had been more ad hoc rather than like a set strategy. And so when we say, what has it been like bringing to life community at the Icehouse, I don't think I created the whole idea of community at the Icehouse. It was definitely a big part of what we've done, but it was more creating like a process and a strategy and a vision for what community at the Icehouse would look like. This actually started during COVID. So I got the role in, it must have been September 2020. So after that first like COVID bit, but the key team, so Liz and Raywin and Gavin at the time, and I'm sure even Andy, they realized that they were kind of like a bottleneck in their own organization because they've been involved at the Icehouse for so many years, and when COVID happened, a lot of business owners, like rightly so, had so many questions, and they would go to one or two people within the organization. And when it's not their actual job to be, answering questions from alumni that had done our program 10, 15 years ago, as everyone knows, they love that. So of course they're going to answer and get on the phone and help wherever possible. But it did sort of rise up a problem of, okay, how are we looking after our people once they've come off the program, and how can we do that better? So that idea of community management and how to put a strategy around it came from that team during COVID. And then they formed this idea called Icehouse Central, and that was launched in November 2020. And Icehouse Central is a digital community. It's a community platform for our alumni. It's a way that our community can access the network, leverage the network, bounce ideas off each other, and also connect with the Icehouse staff online. And so that is kind of what sparked the community strategy first, is going, how can we launch this online platform? And then from that process of refining, looking at the data, getting feedback from our community, I started to realize that community actually looks different for everybody. So Icehouse Central works so well for those that are on the go, want to ask a quick question and get a response really fast through Ask an Offer, or want to keep in touch just with their cohort, or just want sort of like the LinkedIn but Icehouse version of live feed where they can see upcoming events and offers and that sort of stuff. It works really well. But for others, I was getting feedback through our conversations being like, oh, it's just another thing. I don't know, I'm really missing in-person connection. Is there any way we could do more of those and lean into those? And that's where we developed the 3 pillars of community. So that's quite a long answer, but that's kind of been the process of bringing community strategy to life at the Icehouse and what sparked it.
Cool, that's so awesome. And you talked about Icehouse Central and events, but I guess just to go into the next question I wanted to ask, how does community work at the Icehouse?
Awesome. Yeah, cool. So let me do a great big deep dive into our 3 pillars. But yes, exactly what I just said. We realize community can't just be one thing. It can't, because then you're just limiting it, right, to one certain section of how people connect with others. And so that's where the 3 pillars came about. And we're really confident in this strategy in terms of it touching different personality types, different schedules, regional as well, not just Auckland centric, but regional. And so the 3 pillars, the first one is reunions and events. So that's in-person connection, and that is really the Icehouse magic. That is what I've heard from a lot of people, is when you get into a room with other business owners and leaders, you're bouncing ideas around. Honestly, it does not matter if it is 10 people or 200 people. There's a certain energy about it, And so that's definitely a massive pillar for us, is reunions and events. The second pillar is content and storytelling. This is sharing alumni stories, promoting alumni businesses. I'll do a bit of a deep dive into each of these soon. And then the third one is Icehouse Central, which is still a big part of our overall community strategy. And that's the digital side of community, the peer-to-peer learning and leveraging, to be honest. But I think, yeah, like I said, we are very big on talking to our community about what's working and what's not. And after a lot of conversations and collection of data and analytics, these three pillars sort of rose to the top as the things to keep people connected. With reunions and events, we have a regional strategy. So we're not just based in Auckland, we're based across the whole of New Zealand. We've got someone based down in the South Island, and people dotted around now, which is cool. But we host breakfasts and drinks. We put them in two categories of speaker events and social events. Our speaker events are events that we will get, alumni speakers or guest speakers to come in and chat. They're a bit more formal. And then our socials could literally be, hey, I'm going to be at the Good Home at 5 p.m. till 6 p.m. 7 p.m. Come along. We've also invited, 20 other alumni in the area. We love Blenheim, how good, it's and that's what it could look like. So it sort of ranges from the two, but we try alternate those every quarter in our key regions, and then we try do at least one of each in our sort of smaller regions. So a lot of that, we've got our conference per year, which is cool. We have relaunched post-COVID our milestone dinners. So if you are an owner manager program alumni, every 5 and 10 years we will be in touch with you with an invite about just having dinner together with your cohort and like connecting with them, which is cool. Then we have external events that we attend or promote, and we have like BNZ and partner events as well. So lots happening in the in-person space. The content and storytelling, sharing the stories. I, to this day, pinch myself that part of my job is either through the screen or in person, having the time with an owner and a leader to talk about their journey into business. It's just been an incredible honor in the last couple of years to have that opportunity. But we like to inspire people through that content, and we do that through our weekly Icehouse podcast. And then we have a seat at the table, which is our diversity and community lean in. That's been a really cool thing to sort of bring out in the last year. We have our Kiwi business stories. We've got our newsletters, which you're a massive part of, Priya. You're part of all of this actually. But webinars, social media promotion is big, alumni offerings, events, opportunities, lots of things. So raising the profile of their businesses and them. And then Icehouse Central, which is obviously that online platform. And Icehouse Central, my favorite features on that is our live feed. So you can just keep in the loop with everything happening at the Icehouse, but also our ask and offer. We have a lot of people, and it's coming back to that first thing of why this was sparked. But if an alumni in the community has a question that they'd like to ask someone, why don't you come and jump on the platform, ask it, and you'll get an answer really soon. So it's also our learning management system for those on program. And there's a few other things. Sometimes I just like jumping on the phone and calling alumni and chatting with them. But those are our 3 pillars, and really the whole strategy and a whole bit of a word vomit on this webinar.
That's really cool. It's super cool to hear how much there is actually going on to make community work at the Icehouse, for all of our different alumni and the people here. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The next question I wanted to ask you is, what is a piece of advice you have for anyone wanting to build their own community?
Awesome. What is a piece of advice you have for wanting to build? Okay, cool. I would say, actually, I've mentioned it a couple of times, but I would say ask your community, like actually talk to them. It seems silly and too simple as a piece of advice, but I think we are guilty of assuming that we know what our community want, that we know what is valuable to them. But do we really know unless we just ask them? So I think a big learning for me has been, instead of just assuming what is best for the alumni in Invercargill or Blenheim or Wellington or Auckland, jump on the phone, ask them for feedback, talk to them about an idea that you have before you launch and go, hey, what do you think about this? Would this work for you? Would you turn up to this event? Would you turn up to this online webinar? Would you jump on Icehouse Central? Ask for the feedback on the ideas that you have before you launch. Don't sort of fall into the trap of thinking you need to launch this perfect strategy and then just implement it and that's it. This strategy is falling into place now, and we're in 2 years, 2.5 years really of the process, and we'll always be improving it. So yeah, chat to your community. That's how I got a really clear picture on Icehouse Central and where that sat in my mind and in our community's mind. The need for events, like actual in-person events, came from people saying, I'm just desperate to chat to people in person now. And I think as well, they're really keen to share. It doesn't matter if they're a group of entrepreneurs and business owners, or they're a group of passionate cyclists that go out for a cycle every Saturday, or a group of painters, or a group of tech engineers. Whatever your community is, talk to them, ask them how they keen to connect and why do they, take their precious time to be part of what you're building. So that's my advice.
Awesome. That's really good advice. And like you said, it just seems so simple, but it makes sense, right? Like, you've got to ask them. Yeah. Otherwise, you can't just assume. Awesome. Exactly. What is one practical top tip or hack for building community?
This is the cool question. I have a hack for building community that I've discovered over the last couple of years, and that would be launching a podcast. This was Michael's idea back in 2020 when COVID did hit, about talking to our alumni and sharing their stories. And then as the whole team, this is a massive team effort, but as a whole team have then developed what that looks like year on year, produces the podcast each week, we have been able to build on this weekly podcast we have, and I don't see us stopping it anytime soon. Why? Because why is it a hack for community building? For us, it's so much more than listens. I think I don't know, but we may have started it going, hey, let's try and get this amount of listens, or, it'd be awesome if it had a good, base of listeners, and it does, it has a solid base. But really, it's more than that. It's about re-engaging alumni. It's about empowering me and the community, and the team to get on the phone and go, hey, like, I've just heard or seen this on LinkedIn, or I've just heard, this achievement or whatever it is. We'd love to have you on the podcast. Let's say that alumni hasn't been in our community, or hasn't been active, hasn't gone to an event or reached out for the last 5 years. I can actually count on this one hand the amount of people that have said no to being on the podcast. I think people love the opportunity to share their story, and it also helps them. It provides them with content for their business that they can share on their social media. They feel like they're helping, they are actually giving advice and feedback on their how many years of business, leadership and their journey. So most people want to be part of the podcast. And so then I have the honor of chatting to them for 30 minutes to an hour about their story. And that creates a really special community bond. They're the first people that I will chat to at an in-person event. They're the first people that I'll call up if I need some advice on a certain package or something I'm wanting to provide the community. They're the first people that will give me feedback. And yeah, so I don't know if that makes sense, but it's definitely a bit of a hack for building community. If you want to build community, listen to their stories, give them value by promoting their businesses on your platforms and sharing their story, and try capture that moment with them of vulnerability, of asking them hard questions, of going a little bit deeper. and then you'll have that bond for life. So it's definitely been a tool that I recommend. And you don't just need to be part of a community of business owners and entrepreneurs to start a podcast like this. Whatever you offer as a service, there are other people that are interested in it. You could be a panel beater and, you know, talk about a day in the life of panel beaters and interview those around New Zealand. I truly believe every industry can get behind a podcast. You don't need to have millions of downloads and listens. It's more about the connection that you're having with those guests and helping them promote their businesses and them as well. So launch a podcast, everybody. And if you would like to know how to launch a podcast, honestly, just flick me an email, because I've had a few alumni actually just this year get in touch with me about launching a podcast and what that would look like, and, you know, all the logistical details behind the scenes. I'm so happy to jump on a quick call and, you know, unpack what that could look like for you. So yeah, get in touch, and would love to start promoting your guys' podcast too.
That's awesome, Bryar, and definitely get in touch with her. She now has, she definitely has over 100 podcasts under her belt. She's very good at what she does, and so definitely recommend flicking Bryar an email if you want to get into that.
Thanks, Priya.
Nice. But I guess the final thing I just want to ask is if there are to our alumni who are listening to this webinar and want to be more involved in community, how can they do that?
Yeah, that's cool. Let me know. Just get in touch. I have my contact details here. Maybe the next slide. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, get in touch. My email address is here. So if you want to email me, do. We also have on our website, we've got an alumni page where there's like a bit of a form that you can fill out if you want to get in touch with anyone. I'm sure you may have a contact at the Icehouse. So if it's not me, but you are in frequent contact with your CGP, your customer growth partner, or Liz or Raywin or anyone in the team, just let them know that you're really keen to get involved in the community in a bigger way at the Icehouse. And then that's when the 3 pillars come in. We will, you know, present to you events that are happening in your region soon, or opportunities to jump on the podcast or webinar. Online events, anything that's happening in your area, we'll let you know about. And then we'd love to see you at one of those things. And I think that's a big point, is it does get to a point we can provide all of these community options, but at some point the alumni, the person needs to go, okay, yeah, I'm going to actually step into this and lean into this community. So I will turn up to that speaker event tomorrow, or I will jump on the phone with Bryar, and I will be on the podcast, whatever it looks like. There'll be little things that it's then up to the individual to decide that this is something that they want to be part of. But yeah, I really, love the opportunity to talk about community, and I could talk about it for a very long time. It has been a real gem in my career journey of discovering this niche and discovering the power of community building and what that can do for just building a healthy business, healthy sales, healthy marketing, just a really nice, authentic way to connect with your people. And so, it's a real honor to be in this job and to be able to chat more about community. So yeah, thanks for listening.
Cool, Bryar. It was awesome to chat about community with you. And I know I can speak for the team on this, but you're very good at what you do. You handle your role very gracefully, and very glad to have you in this role and looking after our community. Thanks for being on the webinar.
Thank you, Priya. I appreciate that. And I can't say that it's not a massive team effort from the whole Icehouse team, putting on events, doing the marketing. That is everyone sort of getting behind that mahi. So but it's good to be part of it and to be on team. So thanks heaps everybody for listening to the webinar, and looking forward to chatting more about community, and make sure you do get in touch if it's something you want to be part of.